Welcome back for another top-notch video. This week, guys, we're going to be talking about the week of September 2nd through September 6th. A lot of news this week, a lot of things going on. As always, our channel is about the TSP or Roth IRA and 401k brokerage accounts. As always, we talk about the CSI and F funds for those in TSP, for those in Roth IRA, and brokerage accounts. We talk about the ETFs IVV, VXF, EFA, and AGG. What that translates to is the C fund IVV to the S&P 500, the S fund or VXF to the small caps, I fund or EFA to international markets, and the F fund or AGG to bonds. That being said, let's go ahead and do our general overview, and then we'll get more in specific into our charts. So for this week, guys, one of the first things I like to look at is the TSP Talk website. There's a guy named Tom that does commentary there. Please go ahead and check out their site. Great site. Gives a good perspective on shares for the week. So this past week we had a very positive week. We had the C fund up 1.8%, the S fund up almost 1.5%, and the I fund international markets with our winner of 2.2% for the week. That is a big week for our international markets. Things were moving in the right direction this week. That was very interesting to see. If you guys want to see it on a chart perspective, here's the chart perspective since the beginning of the week. We did have a short week, and sure enough, charts just blew out of the water this week to the top, which was good because we were kind of in a period of looking to see what charts would do. I know we were on this channel for sure kind of waiting and watching to see if they'd break to the upside or the downside. It seems we've had a break to the upside, so that is good. I'll show that to you on the charts here. So here we are on the charts with the S&P 500 or the IVV or the C fund. As you can see, a lot of choppy action in August, back and forth between the moving averages. And then we ended up having a breakout above those moving averages in the beginning of September here, which is right here. So basically we're moving out of those lines, looking for that to move forward. We are only off of the all-time highs by about 2%, so just keep that in mind. But things look really good. Volume is up too, so that's good. And we had a positive crossover of our PMO line over our moving average. So good things there. Also with the S fund, we have been under that 200-day moving average. So this is VXF. For almost an entire month, guys. That is not good. And on this last week, we did break that trend. We moved above the 200-day moving average, above our trend line, and above the 50-day moving average. So that's a very positive sign to get above that. Let's hope that it can hold. If it can hold this week, we could probably see that what once acted as resistance may now act as support. So we'll see if that line can support our breakout to the top there. If so, we might do a more balanced allocation. Or waiting for a little more indicator here, but this is a very positive sign. With the EFA or the I fund, we are seeing that really bust out here as well. Moved above its 200-day moving average, very positive. Have some gaps in here. Keep in mind that charts usually tend to fill these gaps, and that 50-day moving average did not end up crossing the 200-day moving average. Very important there. So we could see it continue to explode to the upside. We'll have to wait and see. As of right now, though, our C fund or IVV is where we have funds allocated for the time being. And last of all, let's look at AGG. So with AGG, that did finally break down off its upper trend line. As you see here, it did move down into that. That is a sign, I think, for the possible future for bonds not outperforming stocks. We could see that start to bounce back into this trend line here. Thought it was going to bounce out and stay above, and that's why we were out of stocks for a while. Now that we have this confirmation sign in September, we're most likely going to be moving back into the stock funds, and I'll go through my allocation a little bit later on. If you guys have questions, concerns, or comments, go ahead and write those in the chat below. Next thing we're going to move to is our analysis of our charts. So let's move to IYY. We look at IYY, that's a general market fund. It goes over all markets and all funds, professionals, mom and pop, everybody. So we like to look at it to kind of get a general idea of where our markets are at. With IYY, as you can see, it is above all its moving averages. It's within its trend lines. Very healthy spot to be at. Hoping to see that hit the top of the trend line. If we look at it from a technical perspective on a weekly basis, saw a big move here with our DO oscillator. So with our oscillator, we are moving towards the positive side again. That is very, very good. Blue line is turning up. That's our PPO line is starting to move up again. Once it gets above that moving average, that's a really good buy-in point. We jumped in a little early off our indicator here to try and take advantage of Friday's gains. We did miss the 2 days prior to that, but we wanted to make sure we had a confirmation signal. You never want to buy this first bar unless you're sure that it's going to be moving in the right direction, and we need basically all the week to determine that. But once we saw that kind of on Thursday, we had such a big gap, which we moved from negative 4.19 to negative 3.43. We were positive, we bought back in on a 2-day or midterm basis with IYY. As you can see, we did have a breakout. That blue line is above that red line. That's positive. Our oscillator is positive. We could possibly see a breakout moving more towards the future based off of probability. As always, charts can do anything, but we just like to do this, some of these technical analysis off our probability. A lot of choppy action here in August, but I think we could probably see a trend breakout now here in September. On a short-term basis, IYY is doing very well. We are in the positive, oscillators in the positive, good things, very healthy market. Moving on to our stock fund, so IVV or the C fund, S&P 500. A lot of the same chart here. We are above all our moving averages here. We are within our trend lines, very healthy market for the most part. When we look at it here on IVV on a long-term basis, we saw that same thing. We saw our oscillator move up just a tad. We moved from negative 4.313 to negative 3.33. Really good there. Oscillator's starting to turn positive. The PPO line is moving up, and price action is moving up after a very rough and tumble August on a midterm basis with IVV. As you can see, we are positive. The PPO line is above the moving average. Our oscillator is positive, starting to move out of this kind of trend summary that we have here. Looking really good here on a short-term basis. We're also looking very positive, very good, no issues, concerns. Part of the reason why we decided to look into it and buy this fund. So that is IVV or the C fund. Moving on to VXF or the S fund. This is small caps. Small caps is not above all its moving averages yet, but we are above that trend line. We do have a very critical point here at $120. We'll have to see if it can break that or not. One of the reasons why we are just kind of waiting on that before we move our allocation / rebalance to this fund. I also saw the oscillator on a long-term basis move up for the first time in over 3 weeks. So that's positive. We moved from a negative 1.13 to negative 3.89. So that's in the right direction. PPO line is flat. Hoping to see that turn up. We saw the first positive price movement here with a spinning top. Usually spinning top means indecisiveness with money and what people are thinking and what to do with that. That's better than these down bars that we saw here with these kangaroo tails. Moving on to EFA or international markets. With EFA and international markets, saw some big explosion here. Moving through off this trend line here, moving up through all the moving averages. A lot of resistance up here towards $66. We'll have to see if that can make it over that, but for the time being, we are our moving averages. Like to see that active support moving forward. On a chart perspective, it looks well as well. On a long-term perspective, this is the second week down, so that's confirmation signal. Really good there. On a weekly perspective, midterm, we are moving up. PPO line is above our moving average. Oscillator is positive, and on a short-term basis, the 4-hour chart, seeing a little negative action there, so we didn't get involved just yet. We'd like to see that move positive again. That'd probably be a good jumping in point, but for right now, we missed this, and we're waiting for another jumping point with EFA or international markets. Finally, we're going to be looking at AGG or bonds. With AGG and bonds, like I mentioned, we are above that upper trend line here, starting to move back down towards the lower band of the trend line. Sitting on that 20-day moving average, can see if that will act as support. I have a theory that will probably fall through that, or based off the probability of our technical charts, it'll probably end up falling through that. Bonds is just not the greatest place to be. As you can see from a long-term basis, bonds are doing the opposite of our stocks. Saw that oscillators start to move down for the first time. We went from 4.52 to 4.07. The PPO line is starting to turn flat. Not under that just yet, but that is a warning sign. Looking on a midterm basis, our PPO line did cross our moving average. First oscillator bar negative. On a short-term basis, we're looking at this fund. Looks all right, but I don't like the fact that this PPO line is under the moving average. So that is all of our funds, guys. If you have any questions, concerns, go ahead and write them in the comment below. Really appreciate your support of this channel. Please like, subscribe, or share. Thank you so much for your time, and that's another top-notch video. We'll see you guys next time.